In all reality, not too much happened in the world's largest casino today, so I don't think there's much of a point of me giving you that classic play-by-play breakdown, so I'm gonna give you something better. In the update video yesterday, I hurt everyone's feelings by saying, don't buy this dip. And I truly stand by that because right now, the underlying metrics did not really suggest it was time to buy the dip. So in this video, I wanna break down what that actually means and what to be looking for of, oh, okay, it is time to buy the dip. And I also wanna call out a couple equities where it's already flashing that sign. And I really don't wanna hide that to the end. So I'm telling you right now, Palantir, ticker PLTR, and MicroStrategy MSTR are already flashing those golden signs of this might be a solid dip buying opportunity. I hope that sounds good to you. If you enjoy these type of breakdowns and explanations, it would be awesome if you could help me out by hitting the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and as always, tell your mother you love her. And with that being said, let's rock. When the whipsaws and the fakeouts ended what we're calling today's price action, here was the official headline. Dow closes nearly 500 points higher, S&P 500 surges over 1% on hopes for Trump tariff concessions. And on that alone, it made things very green. Hulk mode green, we saw a nice recovery. And for some of these, I do believe it's actually buying the dip opportunity, but for the overall market, we're not there quite yet. Speaking of the overall market, up until around 11:45, things were pretty bearish, so lower highs, lower lows, and right there we got that Nike swoosh recovery all the way into the close. Similar situation with the NASDAQ, and as I alluded to, I will be talking about PLTR and MicroStrategy MSTR in a little bit because I really like what's going on with them. But to better explain how I get this idea of is it really good time to buy the dip or not, it's all going to come down to the world of options. So for example, right now you're seeing the options movement for the S&P 500 complex throughout the day. The orange and the green are the all expiration calls and the 0DT calls. You can tell that they were strong at first and then really ripped until about 2:15. That's when price stopped. That's when options stopped. And we kind of just went sideways. Now the dark blue and the light blue are for puts. Once again, dark blue is all expiration puts. Light blue are 0DT puts. As they were getting closed out, that added some positive gamma. And even though that is some closing out, it wasn't the biggest amount of puts getting closed out. Right here, just to show you a little different, this is the combination of the Mag 7, Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. What I like about this is you could see there was bullish aggression pretty much all day starting at noon. From there, we just saw a ton of calls being bought, not only for the all expiration, but also for this Friday, and no one was really touching puts. So yes, we saw some enthusiasm, but what I'm going to be breaking down in this video is where we're seeing kind of more enthusiasm. Remember, we want to be betting on the smart horses. We want to be betting where the big money's going, where we have minimal risk and higher upside. So that's really what I want to explain. But to better understand the landscape we're in, of course, you have to understand what's happening with the trade war that turned into a drug war, that turned into tariffs, that turned into a trade war, that's now back to a drug war, but yet we're already calling it back to tariffs. We're all over the map. Trump says a little disturbance from tariffs is okay as markets reel from trade war fears. This is what was said at the State of the Union address last night when Trump was talking to Congress, and people kind of expected it. It wasn't too much of a surprise. Honestly, early this morning, the market was looking pretty green. We had that sell-off, and then we eventually recovered, and we recovered because of some interesting developments throughout the day. White House says Canada's efforts not good enough, open to exemptions. So we kind of came in super aggressive. We were going to hit them. And then throughout the day, we said, maybe not. Commerce Secretary Lutnick says to expect an announcement this afternoon on Mexico and Canada. Trump maybe will consider giving relief. So we were all waiting for that, and it came out right around noon on East Coast time. Trump grants automakers a 1-month exemption from tariffs. The White House granted a 1-month delay for tariffs on automakers whose cars comply with USMCA, which was negotiated during President Trump's first term. Automakers have urged Trump to waive the 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada on vehicles that comply with the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement rule of origin. So even with that, it wasn't the biggest thing as in, oh, no more tariffs, no more trade war. It was like one specific thing that they're getting another 1-month delay. And Canada's response was a bit strange. Canada won't scrap tariffs unless all US levies are lifted, according to their officials. We also got comments commentary from President Sheinbaum of Mexico that she'll be reaching out to Canada, and I guess they're going to be teaming up. So that's the big news that I guess the bots kind of went crazy as soon as it was announced, and that's what led us to actually getting a pop. And also you can see that's roughly when people started buying calls, kind of getting out of puts, and then roughly exactly when people got very excited about buying the Mag 7. It was all related to, okay, I guess they're getting another 1 month delay for any automaker and the tariffs related to that. This is pretty much the same playbook that we saw in 2018. Trump's team came on very aggressive with tariffs, but then slowly and surely, when they saw the market was getting hit, the team was like kind of leaking things of, okay, we're not going to be that crazy. And that's kind of what got the market going. Speaking of getting the market going, this is really where I want to get into the technicals. This is the type of stuff, and I tell you, if you have to watch this part a couple times, if you have to write it down, this is the good stuff. As I alluded to yesterday's update video, this is not the time to be buying the dip quite yet. And it's not just because of price action. Granted, we haven't made any fresh highs. We're just making lower lows. But you also have to look at the options market, which is exactly why day in and day out, I am tracking what's going on in the options market. Use whatever options tool you like. I personally like Spot Gamma the best, but find which one you like and is in your price range. But like I said, Spot Gamma is kind of the best in the game right now. Anyway, what I like to do is find out in these environments when you have lower highs and lower lows and the market is just puking. The question is okay, not only where are we going to buy the dip, you identify that by saying, where could we have a Vanna rally? V-A-N-N-A. A Vanna rally, for those of you who haven't heard about it, is what happens when the market is tilted long on puts. There's a lot of people buying puts, which means market makers sold a bunch of puts. What happens is when the market starts to turn around, you're going to see a drop in vol. And actually, literally, you could track this with the VIX. You're going to see the VIX drop. Those are all the ingredients you need for the Vanna rally recipe. Because as VIX contracts, as it drops, you're going to see these people, okay, if VIX is dropping, that means the price is going up, so they'll probably get out of their puts. So simultaneously, you have volatility coming down and you have the amount of puts, long puts, also coming down. That has a kind of exponential effect on market makers and how they have to hedge the books. And the TLDR there is they just don't have to be as short. They don't have to be as short because puts are closing out, so they don't have to hedge for that. And also because volatility is contracting, they don't have to have such a wide net of what they have to protect. So once again, they get out of shorts. So they're getting out of shorts for two different reasons. And as market makers get out of their protective shorts, that pushes it up, which causes obviously more puts to get dropped and pushes it up higher and higher. People see it going higher and higher. They start to FOMO into calls because everyone's yelling buy the dip. To identify where this can happen, I'm kind of explaining how it looks in real time. Like actually the visuals of this will be the blue lines ripping and the green and orange lines ripping. Just everything's ripping, but it's all started by puts being closed out and volatility contracting. Once again, that's a Vanna rally. So the question here is, at what point are we going to see a lot of in the money puts go from in the money to out of the money? And this is where you want to start to do a breakdown on the options chain. But I'm telling you this right now, it is 5,900 relative to the delta impact from any other level of SPX, SPY, whatever it is. This is about 5 times larger than any other strike. So if you're looking at it, if you want the SPY equivalent, it's kind of like halfway through the range. It's roughly 588, 589, like if you're just going to eyeball it. But looking at the option chain, I'm telling you this right now, a break above and a close above this is going to put a lot of in the money puts to out of the money. And then that is exactly what you need for what I'm referring to as a Vanna rally. So whether it happens tomorrow, in a week, in a month, whenever it happens, if we can confidently get above and close above 5,900 on the current option structure, that is where you're going to have a high probability, of course, not a guarantee, of what I'm calling a Vanna rally, which is going to be noted by the VIX dropping, puts getting closed out, and then you're going to get this very positive feedback loop, which is really going to cause things to skyrocket. So that's the exact thing I'm personally looking for to play that. But with that being said, that entire explanation, we are already seeing it in some individual equities, and I want to call those out to you right now. First of all, we have MSTR. Yes, lower highs, lower lower lows, but we're starting to see that phenomena of people getting, okay, we don't want to be in puts anymore. We're buying some calls. So we're seeing the market makers hedge their books differently, which is much more supportive for a breakout. From a technical perspective, we're seeing a little bit of a breakout in terms of the recent highs. We're seeing some higher lows. I'm watching this 50 EMA, and we also have a political catalyst this Friday. There is a US government crypto event, and we know Michael Saylor is going to be there. So we might be getting another big announcement this weekend as we did last weekend. So just kind of putting some politics with price action, with the option chain. I find this one to be very exciting. And then the other one is PLTR. Obviously, I know if you're watching this, there's a good chance you're already excited in PLTR. It's been ripping, so I totally get it. I love the company. I love the CEO. Recently, it got beat up, lower highs, lower lows, created a nice base here around 80. And for the longest time, I was waiting to get back into this one. So not only are we seeing a potential double bottom, which means you have minimized risk, we're looking at taking out a recent high. It's trying to save itself at the 50 EMA. But guess what? The exact same thing is going on in the option chain, where we're seeing lack of excitement in puts, a lot of excitement for calls, which means that the market makers are going to start hedging differently. And I truly believe that this is setting up for a nice push in the short term up to this upside gap fill at 100. Now, obviously, I'm also an investor in this particular one. I do think it goes higher, but I'm just talking about some short-term movement of why I'm uniquely excited about PLTR, MSTR right now. And obviously I'm giving you the event in which I'm going to probably move from puts to calls in the overall market. And I'm really looking for the option structure to change. And it all comes back to the world of a Vanna rally. Now, right now in real time, you might be thinking, okay, what are some other things that might be impacting this? Well, obviously we still have major macroeconomic events. Thursday, March 6th, tomorrow morning, we're going to get the ECB interest rate decision. And on Friday, we have the unemployment report, and Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Fed, will be speaking at 12:30. And I also want to let you know we still do have some important earnings. On Thursday, we're going to have Broadcom and we're going to have Costco. I'm personally definitely watching those. Now, I know that I hit you with a lot of information. So if you have any questions on reading the option chain, Vanna rally, Gamma rally, all that stuff, how I pick out my levels, let me know in a comment below. I'll be doing my best to get back to all of you. Join up with the Discord or check us out in the morning show from 9 to 11, Monday to Friday, every single day. I am live trading my own account in a very degenerate style. I truly think you're going to enjoy it. Now, obviously, I appreciate you stopping by. I appreciate you getting to this point in the video. I appreciate your time. I hope you're making those tendies, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.